Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of this sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. Something I do a lot on my channel is share recipes, but I tend to share recipes that are gluten-free, dairy-free, sometimes paleo, sometimes vegan, because I have allergies and I prefer to cook food that I can actually eat. Makes sense, right? This video in particular is an exciting recipe video, because it is a collab hosted by my friend Tiffany at Small Town 6. I'm gonna have her channel linked down below, along with a link to the playlist, so that once you've seen my video, you can see what all of my friends made as well. But also B, it's an exciting video because I am sharing 2 recipes today. Every month, Tiffany challenges us to, well, a food challenge. So there's a different theme every month, and the idea is that we're meant to either make a recipe that fits that theme or make a recipe with particular ingredients. The challenge this month is summer sides. So I decided what's better in the summer than a salad, right? Particularly like a nice, refreshing seasonal salad. But because I'm a Libra and I can't make up my mind worth a damn, I decided to make 2 salads. So one of them is savory and the other is sweet. And of course, because I'm the one making them, they are gluten-free, dairy-free, and actually they're both vegan. The first recipe I'm gonna share with you is a Greek-inspired pasta salad. And secondly, I'm going to show you a fruit salad with a little bit of a twist because we're adding chocolate to the mix. Both of these recipes are super simple. It's just a matter of chopping and mixing together. They're also really versatile. If there's an ingredient that you'd prefer not to use, or you can't find, or maybe just something else sounds better to you, you can of course swap things out as it makes sense for you. This is kind of like a base, if you will, and you can use your imagination and run wild with either of these recipes. But I have used them both, I've tasted them both, and I can assure you that as I'm showing you today, they are absolutely delicious. So without any further ado, let me show you how I make these 2 super simple, easy to make ahead, vegan and gluten-free salads for your next summer get-together. So for our Greek pasta salad, we're going to be using Banza brand rotini. This is my favorite brand of gluten-free pasta. It's chickpea based, and I feel it has the best texture of any of the gluten-free pastas I've ever tasted. We're also going to be using some cucumber, some grape tomatoes. We have Follow Your Heart feta cheese here, which is so tasty. This fools any and all cheese eaters. I promise it tastes and feels exactly like regular feta. We also need Kalamata olives, some olive oil, some lemon juice, oregano, and salt. So to start, we're going to salt our pot of water, bring it to a boil, and make our pasta according to the package directions. You could of course use whatever shape of pasta you like, whatever kind of pasta, gluten-free or otherwise, but once it's ready, we're going to set it aside in a bowl while we chop up all of our veggies. And I'm going to try my best to not make any Kendall Jenner jokes here, but I'm going to do my best with my not great knife skills on all of our veggies, just kind of giving them a rough chop so that they're bite-sized. I also decided that I had an onion on hand, so why not? I really like red onion and I feel like it goes well with the rest of the veggies and the flavors that we've got going here. So cucumbers, tomatoes. I always like cherry or grape tomatoes personally because I feel like there's less of that like wet pulpy stuff. Speaking of wet, you want to make sure that your veggies are, of course, washed and dried because you don't want any of the water potentially left on the vegetables to make your salad soggy. So here I am just kind of giving everything a rough chop. And once that's prepared, we're just going to kind of heap everything into our bowl along with our pasta. If there's any scraps of veggies that were not pretty enough to make the cut but that are still good, I like to freeze them to use for soups later. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and added my Kalamata olives and my feta cheese. Amounts vary, it's up to you, whatever you think looks or feels good. We're also going to throw in our olive oil, our salt, our oregano, and our lemon juice. I like equal parts of lemon juice to olive oil, but again, whatever you find is tastier to you. If you like it a little more acidic, use more lemon juice. If you want it richer, use more olive oil. But once this is dressed, we can give it a mixy mix and it's ready to go. This is definitely something that you can make the day before and just cover it up or put it in a Tupperware and leave it for the next day, so it gives you a little more time on the day of your get together because it's one less thing you have to do the day of. And this is also a great option for vegans because it's hearty enough that you can make it a main course, or you can just have it as a side dish if you have something on the grill. Moving on to our fruit salad, we're going to need 1.5 cups of strawberries, 2 kiwis, about 6 ounces of blackberries, a cup of blueberries, 2 oranges, and 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chunks, but you can use chocolate chips if you prefer. You could use dark chocolate instead, whatever you like. For our dressing, we're going to need a tablespoon of lemon juice. You could also add some zest. 2 tablespoons of orange juice. I've got the high pulp kind because that's the kind I like. And a tablespoon of sugar, but you could use agave syrup if you'd prefer, and that way it's still vegan. If vegan is not your concern, you could add a tablespoon of honey instead of the sugar. We're going to mix our dressing ingredients here and set it aside. And now, just as before, we have to make sure that our produce is washed and dried. Dried is super important because we don't want any extra wetness and sogginess in our salad. And I'm just going to chop the green bits off of our strawberries and cut them up into bite-sized pieces. I'm putting all the fruit scraps aside, not to freeze, but actually this time I'm going to be using them in a simmer pot later to add some lovely summer scents to our home for free, because otherwise this stuff would have just gone straight into the trash. We might as well get a little bit of use out of it before we do that. So I've got my blackberries here and I'm just giving them a little bit of a rough chop since they're pretty much already bite-sized. I'm not going to bother to cut the blueberries at all because they pretty much are bite-sized. The kiwi. Now this was interesting. I know some people eat the peel or the skin, but I felt like that was not super visually appealing. So, appealing. So I tried this little spoon trick that I'd seen online where you kind of just cut the ends off the kiwi and try to get a spoon in between the skin and the fruit as kind of tightly as you can so you don't waste too much of that fruit. I did my best. You guys know my cutting skills are not great. That's not what you guys are here for. So I cut my 2 kiwis, or what was left of them, into bite-sized pieces as well. And lastly, we have our oranges. I started out peeling them, and then I realized that this was kind of not the thing anyways, because I didn't want to have any of that bitter white pith end up in the salad. So what I did instead, again with my very not great knife skills, is kind of try to slice the peel entirely off the orange so that I could then cut the segments into pieces. So now that all of our fruit is chopped up and in our bowl, we're gonna go ahead and add our chocolate chunks, we're gonna add in our dressing, and we're gonna give it a mixy mix. You can serve this as is, or you can cover it tightly with saran wrap and stick it in the fridge to serve later. I don't know if I'd recommend waiting until the next day because the fruit, even though it's not gonna oxidize because the citrus juices are gonna keep that from happening, it's not going to look as fresh and pretty the longer you wait. So I would recommend actually making this probably the day of, maybe just a couple hours in advance at most. But it was absolutely delicious, and the pop of texture from the chocolate was a very nice surprise. All right, friends, I promised easy, I promised quick, and I think I delivered on both ends. The Greek pasta salad can of course be made with any pasta, whatever your favorite is. So gluten-free, not gluten-free, whatever makes sense for you and your family. The veggies and the seasonings and everything that I used were on point, but you could very easily add or even substitute some dill for the oregano. You could switch out certain veggies if you wanted and like just completely change the flavor profile. But as it is, you will not miss the gluten or the dairy, and it's nice to have something that you can cater to your vegan friends with that nobody is going to be like, oh, where's the meat though? You won't miss it. It's absolutely delicious as is. And as far as the fruit salad, again, you could use grapes instead of the blackberries. You could add in raspberries if you want. You could use cherries instead of strawberries. You could play around with the ratios of things. Like I made it a strawberry base with everything else kind of acting as an accent. But maybe you decide that you want to make it mostly grapes, or you want to add pineapple, or you want to add melons. It's up to you. But I really think that the chocolate and the orange juice dressing are what elevate this to a different place, what make it extra special. It makes it something that you're not used to seeing in a fruit salad, and it really adds something texturally and flavor-wise. So if nothing else, I really recommend that you keep those aspects of the fruit salad, even if you mix other things around, because that's what's going to give you that unexpected pop that your guests are not, well, expecting. If you decide to try either of these recipes, I would love for you to come on back and let me know how you liked them. And I'd love for you to let me know what your favorite summer side is in the comments. Before you go, I want to remind you that this is a collab, and so there is a playlist. So now that you've seen my recipes, make sure you check that link in my description box so you can see what all my friends made this month as well. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope that you will please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell, because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!